Hello and welcome to the season debut of Extra Point for the spring 2026 semester. I am joined here by Zev, Nat, and Michael. And guys, we have an absolute heater of an episode today. It's a great way to start off the spring semester. We're going to be talking about the big game. We're going to be recapping the conference championship. We're going to preview the big game, and we're going to get into our final score predictions. So let's start off with a recap of the conference championship games. The AFC, we'll start with that game, the 3:30 game. We had the New England Patriots and the Denver Broncos, the 1 and 2 seeds in the AFC. We ended up getting a 10-7 New England victory in a game that it seemed like the snow came out of absolutely nowhere. It completely changed the landscape of the game. Only 17 combined points between the two teams. I have some thoughts on this game, but I'll let you guys go first. So what do you guys think of the AFC Championship?
I always love a good snow game, but I think it really let Drake Maye come to his own. I think giving him the opportunity to play in snow, giving him that, chance to see all sorts of weather, especially for such a young player, it definitely gave him an opportunity to show what he can do, show what he's made of. And we've seen him thus far. Obviously, he made it all the way to the NFL championship, so that means something, right? So, I think it was a good game. Definitely a close game, which I always enjoy seeing, especially from the first and second seed.
I agree. I think the snow added a certain something to it, especially with the storybook line that Drake Maye is following right now with him. The only Super Bowl he's ever attended was in Santa Clara, and that was when he was 13. 10 years later, he's going as the quarterback of the New England Patriots, which is no small helm. It's a little bit ironic that, Boston was experiencing a massive snowstorm while it was snowing in Denver.
They got like 10 inches during that game.
Yeah, it was kind of
worse than what Denver got.
Yeah, but I think Drake Maye, it wasn't his best performance.
It was not.
Which we all can agree on that. It wasn't his best performance, but there's something, as a Giants fan, there's something a little bit special about this New England team this season, and I'm excited to see what they do coming up.
I felt like this game was kind of doomed from the end of the divisional round, just because obviously Bo Nix, it got revealed he somehow broke his ankle at the end of the game against the Bills, so we all knew that Broncos were going to have a backup quarterback, so that kind of started doubting them. It was kind of be like Kinder defense, keep them in the game, and they actually were, because obviously the Patriots offense was not playing to the extent that they were all playoffs, so it was kind of more like a defensive battle. And I know there's always a side of people like high-scoring games, but some people like defensive games, people can never make up their minds. But it kind of came down to whoever got the last possession, I felt like, won the game, and that's what the Patriots got.
Yeah, no, I agree. I wrote down 3 takeaways I had from this game personally. The first one, I think the NFL coaches are getting too aggressive on fourth down. It was 7-0 Denver, 4th and 1. Sean Payton, I think they're about the 20-15-yard line. Sean Payton likes to go for it. Try to get a check down to RJ Harvey. It gets completely blown up. They get stopped. So instead of making it a 10-0 game, a 2-score game, stays at 7-0, and that ends up coming back to bite them. Go ahead.
I feel like this always happens when it's like a windy game like that, or one missed kick, even when it's not snowing. Because as Giants fans, the amount of times I've seen a missed field goal or extra point from any of the other teams, then the coaches just keep going for it on fourth down. And then when it's a snowy game like that, all the coaches just assume, our kicker can't make this. We got to go for every single fourth down. And like you said, it comes back to haunt them.
Yeah, if they take their 3 there, I would assume, even though Will Lutz did miss 2 field goals in that game, but they were both in egregious conditions, I would assume, at this point in the game, it wasn't even snowing yet, I would assume he makes that kick, and it's 10-10. You're going to overtime.
I think, doing those fourth down calls makes it more fun. I think it adds a little more tension to the game, a little more risk.
I don't know.
I feel that in these all or nothing games, you have to make those all or nothing calls, and I don't really think it necessarily in this game. Yes, it probably was, but I don't think that alone was the deciding factor. I think the Patriots had 25 more yards of play than the Broncos did. That ends up being a lot when you look at it and you look at the drives. I don't necessarily think that it's a bad thing. It's definitely growing in the NFL to go for it on fourth down. I like it. It's entertaining, and that's a big part of, I don't know if the NFL is pushing it. I doubt it, but it's a big part of getting people to watch. And they're like, oh my God, they're doing this. They're actually doing this crazy move that is really looked down upon in traditional football.
For me, it's there's a time and place for going for on fourth down. I don't think you should do it at all in the first quarter unless you're on 4 from 1 at the 1 yard line. Maybe just QB like sneak it in. But like from where the Broncos were, I don't think that was the time and place. If it was like fourth quarter, you have to get that fourth down to stay in the game. Yeah, you go for it, be aggressive. But that early in the game, that's when it kind of drives me crazy.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that take your points to coaches. If you're an NFL coach and you're watching this, take your points. You know, it can help you. It could help you in the long run. My second takeaway from this game, the Patriots defense is so good, man.
Yeah.
They are so good. Only let up 29 points in their 3 playoff games. Drake May is not the reason they are in this game. They are not the reason in the playoffs.
No, I was going to say something else.
They are in this game.
Something else.
The defense is why they're here. The defense is why they're at this point.
Picked off C.J. Stroud 4 times.
4 times.
4.
The Patriots defense is why they're here. Their pass rush is elite. Christian Gonzalez with that game-ending interception on Jarrett Stidham. I have a take about Jarrett Stidham as well coming up. You guys might not be ready for this one. I know you're not going to be ready for this one. But I'm just saying, New England's defense, absolutely elite. Absolutely elite. Now, my third take, I think Jarrett Stidham played a better game than Drake May did. But Jarrett Stidham made the more critical mistakes. Stidham completed more passes, passed for almost double the yards Drake May did. But Stidham had that fumble that led to a New England touchdown. That interception to Christian Gonzalez was such a bad throw. He made the critical mistakes. He may have had a better game all around, but he made the mistakes when it mattered.
I mean, I wasn't exactly expecting an all-star game from him. He's a backup quarterback. Like, that's just...
I thought he was going to play pretty well. I think the weather kind of had to play a big play.
If you're a
he's done
backup,
this before.
because if you're a backup, you know that you're a backup for a reason. They don't just make you a back. So like that's why I kind of went in with like, okay, the version of the backup, he's not going to play an all-star game. And then you talk about the defense, man. Like it's a team sport. The defense is not the only reason. I think the whole team overall is the reason they got this far. I don't think you can pull out one piece of it and say, oh, that's the reason that.
I think in
they
the
made it.
playoffs, though, the defense played more of a factor than the offense did. I think the
I can
offense
agree
kinda
with that.
struggled.
They play more effective, but I think it's a team effort.
I think
That's what
that's fair to say because like you look at the Patriots, Drake May might win the MVP.
absolutely.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
I agree with Zev. There's no, in a sport like football where it's not just, if the defense holds up 20 points, it doesn't mean your offense is scoring enough to win a game. It's not fair to say that this is all on their defense, although their defense has been playing astounding. I think give credit where credit's due. The leadership is there. And I think for the Broncos, a big part of it was that Bo Nix was out. Like, he's their quarterback.
did
That's
hurt
your
them.
leader on the field.
It hurt them more than I thought it would.
And especially because it was so random, really, that he broke his
Yeah, it
ankle.
came out of nowhere.
Like, that's a big loss, and they had not much time to recover. And I'm imagining on the coaching perspective, what the heck are they going to do on the playmaking side of like, how are they going to rewrite these plays? How are they going to teach them? How are they going to learn all these new things now that Bo Nix isn't there? And where are they going to get a morale when their quarterback isn't there?
You know, Patriots taking care of business in like an old school battle of the trenches type game. So they will represent the AFC. Moving on to the NFC, a much more high scoring fireworks type game. The Seattle Seahawks, who I have been saying have been the best team in football all season, they continue to prove that with a win over their division rival LA Rams to advance. For me, the play that defined this game was the muff punt by Xavier Smith. That play changed the entire landscape of this game. And I think it's a testament to how good the Seattle team is. They're one of the most well-rounded teams I've probably seen in a decade. Special teams, offense, defense, all very, very efficient. And you saw it in the NFC Championship game.
Thank God the Rams lost. Man. I have sour grapes against the Rams.
Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, they knocked us
they
out.
beat your Panthers.
We would have had that. It's a different story, different conversation. But yeah, like I agree. It was a good game. I like high-scoring games. I definitely think it makes it more enjoyable to watch than them just going back and forth. I mean, obviously defense is fun to watch too when you have a good defense on the field. But yeah, no, I agree. I think that play definitely did make the game what it was. I think it definitely did seal it. But I again, just don't like the Rams, so thank God they lost. That's all I can say.
I was on the side of the internet. People are saying that this playoff game should have been a best of 3 because everyone knew how good that game was going to be because their 2 regular season matchups
I
were
think
great as well.
this game, sorry to interrupt you, this
You're great.
game was the 2 best teams in football this season. The 2 best all-around teams in football this season played in the NFC Championship game.
I agree. I would agree with that. And I felt like, I mean, this is obviously a later discussion, but I felt like the winner of this game is the winner of the next game.
You know, I think the Rams, I do think they did fall off a little bit in the second half of the year.
Mm-hmm.
They had some bad losses. They lost to your Carolina Panthers in Week 13. And and they kind of like they barely beat them in the playoffs, and they beat the Bears in overtime. Kind of squeaked their way into this NFC Championship game, but I do think they're a very, very good team. Matthew Stafford probably is going to win MVP, but can we talk about the quarterback on the other side of the ball real quick? Sam Darnold. This guy, the most important game of his NFL career, in my opinion, he played the best game of his NFL career. Over 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Coming off, he had injury concerns the whole week, and he comes out and balls out.
No, definitely. I just know Vikings fans have to be in shambles. You know, you had
What
you
a
had-
mistake
You
that
had you had
was.
this guy that got you 14 wins. I know he didn't play well in Week 18 and the wild card last year, but he just went to this new team and now he's playing in the big game. So I feel like they're more in shambles than Jets fans.
Yeah.
'Cause at least for the Jets, that was
Jets-
The Jets, at least
not-
at least for the Jets, that was years ago. He went through many different teams playing poorly, and then he just decided to be good these last 2 years. But like, I just know Vikings fans have to be in shambles.
Well, let me jump on that, right? And, I was looking at ESPN article earlier about this game, and it suggested that Darnold's success was in the hands of the offensive coordinator. Because he was on the Jets, he was on the Panthers, and, he was on the Vikings, and he did not do anything remotely as good as he's doing this season. So I don't think it's necessarily more him than he's just getting good coaching that, is making him, I guess, a star, if you want to
I
use that
disagree
word.
with that, honestly.
I think a bit of a
I
mix,
disagree.
you know.
I think it's a little bit of a mix.
You
Yeah,
need a good coach, but
I
it's also
think
your
the
own
Jets
skill.
didn't set him up for success. The Jets
They
were
didn't.
a bad team for the 3 years
They
he was
still
there.
are.
Well,
And
yeah, the
still
Jets
They
are
still are a
garbage.
really bad
Still are.
team.
And the Panthers, when he was there too, no offense, weren't a great team.
No, I know what you're talking about. Isn't
I think he was able to finally get in a good situation with Minnesota and Seattle, and I think that allowed him to prove himself more. I think
Well, when you have the opportunity to prove yourself because coaching plays to you, it's a completely different slate than when you're just in a situation where you have to do what the coach wants because that's what the coach thinks is best, and he's not playing towards your strength. I'm going to bring up Jackson Dart. It's taking away Jackson Dart's run game. You're taking away half of his play. You have to work with your quarterback and make plays off of what their strengths are. But I want to talk about what really worked for the Seahawks, what I think really worked for the Seahawks, and that was their third down efficiency. They absolutely trampled the Rams when it came to third downs. They were 7 for 13 on conversions, and I think that was really the game changer and the deciding factor for them because they were able to capitalize on later drive opportunities later on in drives.
absolutely. I think Sam Darnold and him and JSN, man. They're
Yeah.
an elite duo. JSN might win Offensive Player of the Year. It's between him and Puka Nacua. We'll see how that goes. But now we can transition into the big game itself. We have the Seahawks and the Patriots. The big game. It's in about 10 days from now at the time of this recording. But we have 2 very, very good teams here. What are you guys looking for in this game? What are you looking out for?
Well,
You can go first.
you sure?
Yep.
Okay. Well, fun fact about this game: the Seahawks for the 2000, I think it was 2005 and 2013, or it could have been 2003. I don't know. 2005,
2005 they
2013.
made the Super Bowl,
Yes,
2013.
2005, 2013 they made the Super
And then
Bowl.
2014
Was
as well.
also the same years that the Pope got elected, just like this year.
That is true.
They won 2013, so I think that they could possibly win again in this.
Yeah, that's an interesting stat. This is a rematch of one of the greatest Super Bowls in history, Super Bowl 49, which happened 11 years ago. It's crazy to say that. But my big question is which defense is going to make the big play? These are 2 very, very stout and very, very elite defenses. Both have great secondaries. Both have great defensive lines. One of those 2 defenses we know is going to make a big play in this game. Which defense is that going to be? Is it going to be the Seattle defense that has been the best in football all season, or this Patriots defense that's stepping up at the right time?
I think if it's gonna be on Seattle, it's gonna be someone like a dark horse person, or it's gonna be more of a unit. I think the Patriots, obviously great defense, but I think their main thing will be if Christian Gonzalez can lock down JSN. If he
It's
can
gonna
do
be a great
that, then that alone will be enough for the Patriots defense to win them this game. But I feel like if Gonzalez can if it's 50-50 with those 2, that matchup, then the rest of the Patriot defense will have to step up a lot to make sure that they secure this win.
I think that the Seahawks are going to take it because they have the 3rd best rushing. Obviously, they were the best defense. But in passing, they have the 10th best passing. So I know passing might be a little bit of a problem for them, and we know that Drake May is going to want to use his arm a bunch. So that could be, I guess, where their hole is. But then you look at the Patriots, and what are they? They have the 6th best rushing, the 9th best passing, and they're only the 8th best overall. So, I think Seattle's going to take it in the defensive game in the end.
I agree. I think that Seattle's defense has been consistently better this year, and they just consistently make big plays. Also, their special teams, too. Can we give a quick shout-out to special teams? I feel like they don't get talked about enough. Seattle's special teams, this is one of the best special teams units I have ever seen. Jason Myers is an elite kicker. Rashid Shaheed, what a deadline acquisition that was. I mean, this guy comes in and he's returning punts. He returned the opening kick in the divisional round against San Francisco. Their special teams has such an impact on how good they are, and it should not go unnoticed. I know that we talk about offense, defense a lot, but this special teams is so, so good. But there's also one thing I'm kind of curious about in this game as well. The first practice report came out today, or yesterday, it was one of those 2 days. Drake May, it's been talked about, but he has a lingering shoulder injury that he suffered in the AFC Championship game. Obviously, there's no expectation that he's going to miss this game. He's definitely going to play. But will it impact this game?
I think it's going to force the Patriots to explore more of their rushing game, which obviously they did have to do more so in the championship game. But I'm going with the Patriots to win the big game because, like you said, they're stepping up at the right time. And I think that, to me, like the momentum of things, when you're stepping up and you're gaining that and you're like getting confidence in a team that's fairly young, I think that almost means more than the consistency that the Rams had throughout the season. Because I feel like, I don't know, something about the juju of it. And like I said before, it's almost like a fairy tale story, and I'm a sucker for a fairy tale ending in sports.
I think, obviously there's 2 weeks between the conference championship and the big game, so I feel like he probably will most likely be ready because he get extra rest. And honestly, I could be wrong, but I don't know if they kind of said how severe this injury is. It could be.
He was a limited participant in practice.
Okay. Well, it's again, he still has like another week to.
Yeah, he does have another week.
But I mean, as of now, they probably can be still searching for like more run plays, and then maybe their gameplay changes depending on how he's feeling when upcoming on the 8th.
And you guys brought up the Patriots run game, and I think that this is an interesting point because their run game was very, very interesting in the Denver game. Travion Henderson, the rookie, he is a very, very talented running back. He is a guy that can make explosive plays. But in the game against Denver, he only played 4 of the 64 snaps, not touched the field that much. And I think that Seattle's defense is very, very similar to Denver's. They get to you quick. It's not really that much of a competition in the trenches. And I'm curious to see how Travion will be a part of this game because he barely played against Denver. Will they change it up against Seattle, or will they rock with somebody like Ramondre Stevenson?
I think they might keep it consistent because looking at the yards per pass that New England had against the Broncos, Drake May was averaging 2.5 yards per pass.
Yeah.
That's nothing. So clearly whatever was going on was probably bothering him during that game. So they're already preparing for it and they're already executing for that injury. The big game's in 10 days, give him a cortisone shot, he'll be fine. But like to ask the question of if the Patriots are prepared for this or if they're ready to handle a situation like this, I think is almost moot because clearly they did. And they already were relying on not directly rushing, but passing into a rush.
There's something I do want to bring up. We talk about how good the rushing is. Statistically, the Patriots are, favored to win on the stat sheet. You look at it, all the numbers are in their favor. You look at Seattle, though, on ESPN it said they have a 60% chance of winning. And also for the Patriots' strength of schedule, I did look at earlier today because I was curious. 43% opponent win rate. That was their lowest since 1978 for the Patriots.
Patriots had an extremely easy schedule this
So-
year, all time, historically easy.
Yeah, exactly. So the question I have is, we're talking about how good the rushing is and if they're going to get through, but what about the fact that they've had an easy schedule? As much as they might be a decent team and they made it this far, how do you think that is going to affect overall them going up against the actual best team? Because then their opponents had a 47% chance, strength of schedule, win. So, you can clearly see the difference.
You can make the argument that they had a pretty easy path to the game as well. You look at, they played playoff Justin Herbert, 0-4. He's playoff Justin Herbert. Playoff CJ Stroud. Oh man. And then you get to the conference championship and you play the backup quarterback of the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, it's like I know they like the technically like I guess ranked defense wise. It's like it was a hard road to like the game, but like at the same time the offenses they faced were horrible. So that's why I feel like their defense is probably gonna be their most important thing against Seattle because obviously I guess their offense was able to kind of compete with these, really like talented like defenses, but we just got to make sure they got to hope that their defense can like hold up against this talented Seattle's offense.
Now, before we transition into the game picture, I want to talk about the two head coaches in this game. They're both named Mike. We got the battle of Mikes.
Hey.
We got Mike over there as well. Mike McDonald, he took over this team, I think it was 3 years ago now. They missed the playoffs last year. This is his first time in the playoffs with the Seahawks, and he's in the big game. And then Mike Vrabel. What a story this is. Former player for the Patriots, won a few big games with them, and now he's the coach in his first year head coach.
I think he can be the first person in league history to win as a player and coach for the same team.
I believe so, yeah.
I think someone did it for like obviously different teams, but I think for the same team, he can be the first one. And obviously, I still don't understand how the Titans fired him.
Yeah,
That was stupid.
He was very, very good for the Titans. Brought him to the conference championship in 2019, led him to the 1 seed in 2021, even though that team lost in the divisional round to the Cincinnati Bengals. He was a great coach. I'm surprised he didn't even get hired last year, but Patriots A+ hire, and he's completely changed the culture of that
Once
team.
he got hired, I knew the Patriots were going to be back to being good because
I expect
they
the
got
Patriots to be
4
good
wins.
this
They
year,
got 4 wins last
but
year.
not
I'm
this
like
good.
4 wins last year. I'm like, all right, well, Drake May didn't play the full year. When he did play, he was good. He'll probably be better next year, second year, and you just got a really good head coach to help him. So it's like it just shows that your rookie QBs can be good in their second year if you get the right people around them. Hint, hint.
Yeah. All right, and now we are going to transition into my favorite part of this segment. I'm sure this is going to be everybody's favorite part as well. We're going to get into our picks. We kind of talked about it just a little bit, but we're going to go down the line. We're going to save mine for last. And Zev, you want to kick us off here?
Are we doing the score too, or do you like
Yeah.
what you think we're
Let's
doing?
give a score. Give a score. Let's do it.
So, I was listening to a couple things earlier, and, as we know, Seth Rollins, the WWE star, has been making his rounds on the different ESPN stuff, and he said that Seattle's going to blow out the Patriots. I disagree. I disagree completely. I don't think they're going to blow them out. I think it's going to be a close game. If I had to put a score to it, so I think Seattle's going to win in the end. I do. But I don't think they're going to blow them out. I think they're going to win, and if I had to put a score to it, I think I would say like 21-17, I think, is a good score.
A little low scoring.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's definitely a good score.
All right. Interesting.
I agree with Zev on like the low scoring, on the tight scoring, but I'm a sucker for fairy tale endings. This whole season for the Patriots and Drake May and their head coach, it's kind of like written in the stars in my opinion. But I do think this game is going to be tight and hard fought on either side. I'm feeling maybe even a little bit of overtime.
Ooh.
And
okay.
I think that would be really
Another
fun.
overtime.
But I don't think the score is going to be much higher than like a 16-13 game. Like I think it's going to be low and tight.
16-13.
I'm hoping for another great game like their previous matchup what was it? It was 49.
49, yeah, 49.
I'm hoping for another great game like that. I think the Seahawks are going to take it 35-21, and the touchdown that wins them the game may not be at the very end, but the touchdown that they get that will like end up them being the winner is going to be on a rushing touchdown of them running the ball.
Ooh. So they run the ball this time. They're
They're going to run the ball. I don't know how long that run's going to be, but that rushing touchdown will be their winning points.
So for me, I have said during this segment that I thought the Seattle Seahawks were the best team in football this year. Their offense is efficient, their defense is efficient, but I don't think this game is going to be that close. I don't. I really, really don't. I think Seattle is going to win this game pretty easily. I do. I'm going with 27-17, which is only 10 points, but I think the actual play on the field, it's going to be a much bigger gap than that. Super Bowl MVP, we can do this really quick as well. I'll go down the line and give Super Bowl MVPs. Mine is going to be Sam Darnold. I think they are always biased towards the quarterback. I think it's the obvious pick. I think Sam Darnold plays a good, composed game, doesn't turn the ball over once, and he wins Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, I agree. I think Sam's going to get it too because, like you said, there's a big bias towards I mean, it makes sense, but I think that Sam Darnold definitely is going to get MVP.
I don't have one picked, so I'm just going to go with somebody on the Pats defense, saying they're making a huge
Defense
play,
Super Bowl MVP.
That's great.
and it's a game-winning play, something like that for
Defensive
entertainment
Super Bowl
factor.
MVP.
I won't be surprised if Darnold gets like the votes from fans if he
Yeah.
has a great game, but I do think that JSN will have a good game, especially against Christian Gonzalez. If he has like 2 touchdowns, at least 2, he will get the MVP. Unless it's like 2 first half and he does nothing the second, then I think it'll be Darnold. But I think JSN will get the MVP.
Nah, I like the defensive pick. We haven't had one since
Thanks.
Malcolm Smith. That was 12, 13 years ago. I was actually on the Seattle Seahawks.
I was like 4.
But that is going to do it for this segment. Hopefully you guys are ready for the big game. I'm certainly ready. I'm very excited. This has been a very, very anticipated matchup for me. 49th edition of this game was one of my favorite ones ever. And I am very, very excited to see him run it back. I think Seattle gets revenge this year. That's going to do it. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed this episode of The Extra Point, and we will see you next time.